Welcome to National Resource Center, Central University of Kerala under the course on Curriculum Designing and E-Content Development. We will be discussing pedagogical approaches for curricular transaction. In the previous module, you might have studied the background information of the curriculum which leads to have an understanding on the models of curriculum. Those models are considered to be the skeleton system of a curriculum which gives definite shape. Once the effective curriculum is designed, it requires many of the further process for the successful and sustainable implementation of the curriculum. It is in the hand of teachers who can raise the level of utility of any curriculum. Although the teachers play a pivotal role in the implementation, besides their mastery over the selection of appropriate techniques, methods, approaches, strategies and activities according to the contents that are to be delivered, categorizing the level of utility of any curriculum. Despite the principles of curriculum give definite shape to the development of any new curriculum, the pedagogical approaches alone successfully carry the curriculum to the target group. Yes, they act as the medium of curriculum to transact to the students. If we say in the terms of digital era, it can be said that the curriculum is a kind of portal which is presented to the target group through server what is called pedagogical approaches, which need to be adjusted to. Next, we will move to the steps of the curriculum development. There are 6 definite steps involved in developing any curriculum, which are as follows. The first one is determining the target group, and the second one is developing goals and objectives. Third one is selection of instructional strategies. The fourth one is consider logistics. Fifth one is developing assessment techniques and evaluating the effectiveness of curriculum. From the above stated steps, the teachers could sensitize the selection of instructional strategies which play a crucial role in the development and designing of curriculum. Most of us have a misconception that process of curriculum development aims at the organization of content into the book or syllabus, but the process is to be extended till examining the effectiveness of curriculum after certain years. An ex post facto type of investigation is required for the measurement of effectiveness. Thus, it is the bounden duty of the teachers and curriculum designers to understand the importance of each step of curriculum development, since they contribute each other further in the effective implementation of curriculum. Hence, the mastery of the teachers over the steps of curriculum development preside to the effective transaction of curriculum. Next, we will move to criteria for the selection of curriculum transaction. The following required elements you are going to see are mandatory for the effective transaction of curriculum. Although the requirements are kept separately, each one of them is hand to hand. They together transact the curriculum effectively. The first one is planning. It is the primary element based on the level of learners, level of the content and the degree of other components to be infused with that. The second one is clarity of thought. This is the element which requires more ascertain and assumptions among the curriculum designers and teachers. The stakeholders who involve in the transaction of this curriculum should concentrate on this element, especially this criteria focus on how aspect of the curriculum. Third one is organizing. Hereby, the term organizing designates that organization of contents based on the principles such as known to unknown, simple to complex and primary to secondary. The elements organizing is also meant for the amalgamation of learning experiences, evaluation, time and clarity of communication simultaneously. We will move to the fourth one, time management. A better curriculum will have a clear cut idea on the time to be consumed for each organized content, addressing the level of children. The individual differences of the child in terms of physical, mental, social and emotional aspects are to be viewed very seriously and favorably be considered to attain the progress. Exclusively separate curriculum for the different level of children, that is slow, mediocre, bright and superior learners are not possible. Hence, a curriculum must be in a position to satisfy the different level of children irrespective of their dialect, socio-economic background, IQ level, etc. But there should not be any ambiguity on the exclusive curriculum for the different level of children except gifted. The understanding is also essential to distinguish those instructional strategies and the degrees of task that may vary. The next one, knowing, observing and understanding of children at all times. Despite the above stated items or the skills, they are the instinct of the children which trigger them to internalize information what they deal in daily life situation. These are some of the criteria compulsorily to be considered for the effective transaction of curriculum. Apart from those criteria, the elements such as team responsibility, review of the work, clarity of communication, alertness of the teacher, material organization, room setup and watchfulness are also playing key role in the effective transaction of a curriculum. Next, we let move to planning of learning experiences. In the previous section, you have seen that how a curriculum development should be and what are the steps and criteria to be followed. By this section, you are going to learn what are all the learning experiences can be fused with that of the curriculum components. Now, as revealed already, the effectiveness and utility of curriculum are depending on the process of selecting learning experiences. While planning for the learning experiences to integrate with the curriculum, the following things are to be considered meticulously. The first one is level of the learners. We used to look at the goals of learning rather than the learners, but truly the learner's background, the learner's knowledge, the learner's interests, the learner's attitude and the learner's aptitude are to be meticulously considered for the effective transaction of curriculum. Foster innovation. In fact, the goals and aims of society fix the objectives of curriculum. We the teachers and educators give no room for those aims and goals. The interaction between learner and society should have an impact over the curriculum. The innovative ideas as learning experiences must be coupled with the designing of curriculum. We let move to learning goals. The third one, learning goals. There are number of goals will never determine the knowledge of the learner, but the skills, interactions and mindset of the learners might be the goals of effective learning. In general, how might we introduce the learning goal is not important. It matters that what degree of learning goal is introduced is important. The fourth one is impact of learning. Most of the learning goals concentrate on the knowledge and achievement of learning, but a good curriculum must connect as midway between learning goals with the purpose of a life, which in turn helps the learners to retain the knowledge for longer time. Fifth one is visualizing the success. The model is considered to be a skeleton of curriculum which assists the learners to visualize the success of learning goal. The more we know curriculum transaction, the more we could use curriculum model. The more we use models in designing curriculum, the more we integrate learning experiences. The more we integrate learning experiences, the more we succeed in the learning goals. Sixth one, utilizing existing resources. The teaching learning experiences can be strengthened by utilizing resources available around the learning situations. An appropriate movement from the basic resources to the advanced resources must be inherred in cementing the learning experiences with that of the content. The seventh one is the students' feedback. The understanding and achievement of the learners become an yardstick to assess the relationship of the learners with the learning goals. The feedback indicates that how the learning experiences might empower the learning. Hence, the processes that collect the feedback of the learners on the learning content must be a part and parcel of the curriculum, especially at the end of or in between the each and every lesson. Accelerate the process. The science process skills or the processes or the basic platform that would make the learners to accelerate their learning and efficiency of the application. The science process skills are not only intended for science curriculum, also to all the rest subjects. The processes that learners to go beyond what is set in the textbook. The authentic learning is also possible when the processes are entertained in the learning process. Thus, the learning experiences are to be infused with curriculum for the effective transaction. Curriculum planning. Curriculum planning is a kind of organization of different elements which requires accountability of the members of the organization. Some of the following sections together constitute the curriculum planning. The first one is sensitizing problem or need or issue. Whenever there is an issue prevails in the society, predominantly they call for a new curriculum. The new curriculum generally emerged based on new issues, new problems or new needs. The curriculum has the viable capacity to address those needs. The second one is constituting a team. There are three domains must be followed in this section of curriculum planning. The first one is identification of a member of the curriculum planning. It is not an easy task. The second one is the process of selection must be very cautious. The third one is the role and responsibilities of the team members must be defined. The approaches, collaboration and teamwork must be strictly adhered in the selection of curriculum members. Need analysis. Once the problem or issue or need is sensitized and defined by the selected group, an analysis must be done by the constituted team for the effective transacting curriculum. Although there are many approaches available for the need assessment, the approaches named after knowledge, attitude, practice, that is KAP approach, may be taken into consideration. This analysis helps the designers to describe how to use the information gathered. It also helps in identifying gap between knowledge and practice. Above all, the characteristics of the audience and prioritizing the needs could be done through need analysis only. For instance, Hounsford in the year 2002, he suggested the following elements are essential in any curriculum planning: statement of objectives, purpose, content selection, sequencing the lesson, opportunities, selection of materials and evaluation of content. These are all the contents and the criteria importantly to be infused with the planning of any new curriculum. Next, we let move to implementation of curriculum. As it has been internalized, the implementation is also equally important on par with the planning, designing and development of the curriculum. The following are the essential element you are going to see as an important aspects for the effective transaction of curriculum. Adequate understanding also is essential in distinguishing curriculum transaction and curriculum implementation. The first one is selection of materials for the evaluation. Second one is determining evaluation criteria. Third one is test and revise curriculum. The subtopics or subcomponent of the third test and revise curriculum is recruiting facilitators, training those facilitators, adequate time and support to the facilitating curriculum, identifying the lacunae, revamping the contents and organization of contents and implement curriculum. These are all the steps to be followed in the effective transaction of curriculum. Now, we let move to components of curriculum transactions. The following concepts which are going to see one by one are the different strategies that help to carry the concepts, context and the contents that are kept in the curriculum is effectively transacted one by one. The first one is project work. The project work is a type of learning experience which aims to provide an opportunity to the students to aggregate the informations from real life situations. It helps the students to acquire the skills such as collaboration, communication, teamwork, cooperation, sharing of responsibility, etc. The major advantage of project work is to enhance the application of knowledge among the learners. The second one is group work. there is no special difference between group work and collaborative work. When the learning task is assigned to a group of students is called group work, but the group work enhances skills such as segmenting the complex task into small piece of work, time management, art of discussion, art of assumption, strong communication skill, facing unfavorable situation, etc. The mixed abilities what we have seen so far will be newly emerged through group work, which differ according to the nature of group, like small group, large group. The third one is assignment. An assignment must be taught always with a specific goal which students need to be understood. The assignment makes the student to completely comprehend the learning material what are not included in the specific content or curriculum. The following 5 principles you are going to see must be adhered by the teachers to bring an assignment as good learning experience. The first one is we have to make a knot between pedagogical goal as well as a learning goal through a writing of an assignment. The second one is the metaphorical aspects such as situations, large people, purpose must be also be defined. The third one is fragmenting the learning task into the possible pieces of learning based on the minimum level of learning, that is MLL concept. The fourth one is assigning different grades based on the degree of criteria followed in an assignments, which will give boost to the students. And the fifth one is ensuring all the elements of assignment exist or not. These are all the things teacher should follow in the effective transaction of curriculum through assignment as a teaching learning experiences. The fourth one is seminar. It is one of the major group learning techniques where the trainees or delegates discuss the common issues under the expert in the relevant field. This learning experience makes the learner to be good at lingual, social and emotional maturity. The complex and undefined contents, context and concepts or could be understood by the learners. Indirectly, the major skills such as extempore speech, group discussion, stage decorum and organization of program are developed among the learners. Directly, the skills such as questioning, observation and evaluation skills are also nurtured. Thus, these learning experiences nurturing many skills based on its types such as mini seminar, major seminar, national seminar and international seminars. The fifth one is symposium. It is a lecture series by 2 to 5 persons in the relevant field with an expert. The audience will be the passive listeners only except the questioning hour. A collection of writing and discussion of a common topic will also be entertained. The learning experience of symposium will be very fruitful to the learners in following ways, because it gives vast understanding on a specific issue or a topic, and it makes the audience to take decision on a given topic spontaneously, and it gives a complete comprehension over the specific content or topic, and it gives a knowledge of synthesis and evaluation of content to the learners. Next, we let move to the strategy workshop. The workshop is also a group technique insisting discussion for the implementation of any phenomena related to the particular profession development. For instance, in the teaching learning process, the different methods of teaching learning are discussed to implement in the pedagogical process. It helps the prospective teachers also to search, explore and arrive a solution to the problem. It provides the philosophical, psychological and sociological background for the instructional purposes too. Besides, it makes the learner to perform independently. It also uses to open an eye of the learners toward an innovations on education in general and teaching learning process in particular. Next, we let move to citizenship training camp, shortly called as CT camp. It is a kind of learning experience that makes an each individual to sensitize his or her membership of the society or world. The rights, duties and privileges of an individual are the components of CT camp. This learning experience inculcates the political awareness, political rights and political knowledge and the spirit of nationality among the students. These are the learning experiences prepare an individual socially loyal, socially worthy and socially accountable. In general, this type of learning experiences must be incorporated in the curriculum so as to prepare a young generation to be a good citizen. Next, we let move to study tour. This is one of the learning experiences find a place in the curriculum which consists tour, site visits and field trip together. The students could get direct experiences and enrich their knowledge of what they intended to learn. The deep understanding on the real life situation is also possible through the study tour. The exposure of the new language, the exposure of new places and the exposure of new style of living is also nurtured beside among the people through the tour concept. Next, we let move to bus session. It is one of the learning experiences under the large group technique. It focuses on the participation, discussion and feedback of the learners. In the bus session, there would be a large group. The large group further would have been fragmented into many subgroups consist of 2 to 4 persons. They are intensely involved in the discussing of the given issue for a short span of time. This type of short period discussion triggers their decision making power, observation skill and listening skills. The students feel variety through lecture. The advancement of wide learning objective is also possible by this short span discussion. Active participation of students are also inducted through encouragement and the consideration of feedback from the students also the great advantages of the bus group session. The next concept or the next learning experience is digital portfolio, also known as e-portfolios. These are actually what are all the concepts that you have seen so far are the components of learning experiences which transact the curriculum in the primitive or pioneer aspect of curriculum transaction. But what concept you are going to see is the new or innovative curriculum transaction which is under the 21st century learning or 21st century curriculum. Digital portfolio is a paradigm shift from blackboard teaching to the interactive whiteboard teaching. There is also a shift from resources of learning to in the print media to the digital media. This is the new type of learning experiences that to be incorporated especially with the 21st century broad based or international level curriculum. Hence, the students are to be instructed to collect multimedia resources with enhance their knowledge and skills in turn further evaluated by the teacher. The three types of portfolio such as performance portfolio, process portfolio and progress portfolio are together keep the learners under dynamic and original learning environment. Brainstorming. Brainstorming is also a large group technique, but generally although it is large group technique, sometimes an individual based brainstorming is also entertained in the teaching learning process. Hence, a curriculum should have an eye on the individual based brainstorming also. It is a creative problem solving technique through arriving a new idea by the group. The brainstorming gives the learning experiences to the curriculum which need to be fused as follows. The one is the solutions are arrived rapidly and the economy in terms of time, energy and money. The unexpected ways and results are also possible through this type of technique. A complete picture on the problem can be imbibed by the learners. The atmosphere of the discussion and solution is open to all end. The implementation is facilitated by the decision of the brainstorming technique. Next, we let move to case analysis. An analysis that confirms the judgment about personality and the course of action of an individual or a learner is known as a case analysis. This is a kind of learning experience based on the research which provides the abilities such as imaginative thinking, logical thinking, communicative thinking, experimental thinking, integrating knowledge and integrating skills, understanding the consequences of situations and orientation of an action. panel discussion, logical, analytical and fruitful conversation of 4 or more experts in front of the target audience on some specific topic become a concept of a panel discussion. This learning experience enriches the social learning among individual. Besides, it encourages cognitive, affective and logical thinking of the learners too. Team teaching. The group of teachers involved in planning, executing and evaluating learning experiences for the same group of students is known as team teaching. By this type of learning experience, the students are able to get variety of exposure, sensitizing the role and responsibility for learning, distinguishing the right and wrong, do's and don'ts of the learning. The students also get more interaction on the learning process. Further, we will move to cooperative teaching technique. Two teachers simultaneously involved in planning, executing and evaluating learning contents for the same group of students is known as cooperative teaching technique. By this teaching technique, one teach and one support concept is ensured. Here, the teacher 1 is directly involved in the teaching process and the teacher 2 is involving in the assistance to the teacher who involved in the instruction process. This couple with a teacher with teaching training also. It is not mandatory that 2 teachers always involved in this process. A teacher with a teacher educator or a teacher with a student teacher also find part in this type of teaching. The proximity between the students and teacher is also strengthened herewith. It saves time and in the distribution of materials and works. The rapport of the teachers to teacher and the teachers to student get increased. In general, teachers could develop sense of understanding each other through this technique. Next, we will move to parallel teaching. As the name implies, the teacher and student teacher parallelly involved in teaching process. They share half of the teaching load each other. The student teacher gets benefited in terms of teaching. The pre-planning of this technique makes better teaching among the teacher trainees. They utilize this teaching technique as trial and error learning to improve the teaching competence. Alternate teaching. The slow learners, the students who missed the particular lesson or the unit or content or the student who wish to accomplish more and more will be entertained by this type of learning technique. In this technique, one teacher used to manage the whole class and another teacher will engage the targeted students. By interacting this technique, the curriculum, the students' personal needs are able to be addressed through molding of lessons, delivery of content, managing classes and using variety of instruction each other. Next concept is station teaching. As the name implies, the teaching at different station is called station teaching. This type of teaching experiences based on the concept of peer tutoring, partially teacher dependent and individualized learning. In station teaching, the classes would have been divided into different teaching centers. For instance, 3 or more teaching centers run simultaneously. The first one will be under the supervision of a teacher, typical permanent teacher. The second, third and fourth one will be under the supervision of student teacher, also volunteers respectively. This type of learning experiences provided under informal setting. The teacher can cover more number of lessons which in short span of time and students can be separated based on their needs. Next, we will move to self and peer assessment. An assessment made by the individual student on his or her own performance and the performance of the fellow learners called self and peer assessment. The curriculum should give room for that type of assessment because it can be given at the end of lesson or it also can be given in between the lesson. This type of learning experiences will enhance the environment and involvement of the students. The self reliance of the student on the learning will be more. The students will be identifying their area of improvement. The students themselves will classify the contents into the manageable pieces of learning based on the minimum level of concept. These are all the benefits of this type of strategy. At last, we will move to book review. Whatever the concept or transaction experiences that you have seen so far are making the teachers to effectively translate curriculum. But this learning experience make the learner or teacher to be a content developer or content designer, especially the designing and development of curriculum part is well known or well explained by this type of technique. This is the type of learning experience which introduces the concept of and criteria that how a student could involve in a curriculum designing, by which the student will be asked to write a review about the quality, aim, significance, utility and the way of content organization. The book review gives the learner a precise summary of the given textbook. It renders a critical assessment of the content. Finally, the students will be able to grade the book with an authentic evidence and criteria. Thus, these are all the different strategies or as a learning experiences. It helps teachers and curriculum designers to effectively transact curriculum. Let me summarize the lesson. The student teachers are going to be the teachers in future. The responsibilities of those teachers will not be confined with teaching learning process. They also will be involved in designing implementation of curriculum. Hence, one who wishes to become a teacher must be aware of the designing and development of a curriculum. While developing a new curriculum, they must have an eye on the learning experiences which are the part and parcel of the contents. The teachers should have an apparent idea on the transaction of those learning experiences through the suitable method and approaches. Hence, the pedagogical approaches are the indivisible content from the curriculum. The selection of pedagogical approaches and cementing those approaches with the suitable learning content is an art of the curriculum designing. The teacher must encompass an idea of the effective assessment of the curriculum to revamp, to refine and to bring out a suitable curriculum to the society. Above all, the success of a curriculum depends on the suitable learning experiences through suitable pedagogy. Hence, the present module aimed at making the teachers and prospective teachers into a curriculum designers and implementers. Thank you for watching this program. Have a nice day.